Plaintiff Eric Logan was friends with the defendant for 20 years, and after they went their separate ways, he heard the defendant fell on hard times. Eric claims he discovered the defendant was struggling with a heroin addiction, and he's suing him today for stolen and damaged property. Defendant Michael Morrison says he was heavily addicted to pain medication, and it eventually escalated to a heroin addiction. Michael claims he was only addicted to heroin for 2 weeks, and he's now been clean for 14 days.
Start with you.
Well, Your Honor, first of all, let me state that, Mike and I, we've been friends for, 20 years. 17, 18 years old, we was in our own apartment together. We were roommates, we went through the partying and the drinking phase, and basically, I grew up, I'm not gonna say that, I'm perfect or haven't been in trouble, but I've moved on with my life. I started my own company, I got married, bought a house. Unfortunately, Mike really never, progressed that way. We have a company, and I got involved with him, and I knew he was down on his luck, and
When did you find he was down on his luck?
Probably a couple years ago.
Okay. That's when you all reconnected.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I found out that he was living with his aunt, and and he didn't have a vehicle and didn't have a job, and we was in the position to offer him a vehicle and a position with the company. Everything was going great, but I come to find out that he was hiding a secret from me and everybody else, that he was actually having drug problems and addicted to heroin.
Heroin. All right, the real deal drug problem.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say he's a bad guy. He's a really good guy. Like I said, we've been friends for 20 years. But I think what really happened was, he let this drug take him over.
Sir, you want to give me some background?
Well, Your Honor, that's pretty much what the situation was. I was using heroin. After
When
the
did
first,
you stop?
I've been clean for 14 days. I was using heroin. After the first time I used it, it had me hooked right away, and then it got to the point where if I didn't have it, I was sick. I've had surgery on my spine several times, and they were giving me pain medication, and that's how it began. I started to abuse the pain medication.
When was that?
It was in 2007 is when I first got injured. I had spine surgery the first time.
So you were a heroin addict since 2007 up until?
No, sir. I only used heroin for for 2 weeks out of the last month. It was a short-term situation.
So how long were you addicted to heroin
for
again?
For 2 weeks.
Okay.
And
you were getting sick within that 2-week period if you didn't use it?
Yes, sir. That's correct. And what had happened is I ended up finding myself in a hotel room with other heroin addicts that had been doing it for years. And with the situation that happened with Eric and everything else that was going on in my life, I came to the conclusion that that's not what I wanted. Mm-hmm. I locked myself in I went to my buddy's house, stayed at my buddy's house, and I locked myself in a room for 3 days. After the 3 days, I started feeling better, and I've been clean for 14 days, and I'm trying to stay that way.
Just by locking yourself in the room?
Well, when you're sick, you go through withdrawals, and the best thing for me to do was just to deal with it. That's what I did, Your Honor.
What did you do after that when you came out of the room?
Then I started feeling better. I started working with my friend that I was staying with. And
Started working where?
He has a salvage shop, and I've been working with him, trying to stay busy, to keep my mind off of,
Who'd you get high with in the past? Your heroin use?
Anyone that would get high with me. It was no particular person.
Oh, you didn't have a partner that you would get high with on a regular basis?
No.
You got high by yourself?
No, I didn't get high by myself. I'm saying whoever was around. It wasn't.
Where'd you know the people from?
Through the pain, dealing with pain medication.
So you would know the heroin
streets.
users?
Some, yes.
Go ahead, sir. Tell me what happened.
Well, like I said...
And do you have a criminal record?
Yes.
How far back?
I have a burglary conviction.
When?
It was 3 years ago.
Only one?
Yes.
What were you addicted to then?
Pain medication.
You only have one conviction?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Well, like I said, Your Honor, I found out he was down on his luck. I was in a position, like I said, we've been friends for 20 years. I was in a position, we had our own company. I knew he didn't have a vehicle.
I got all that, sir. When he showed back up, you saw no signs of drug addiction?
No, I really didn't.
Never saw him nodding out or anything?
No, I knew that he had back surgery. I knew he had a problem that he, usually would take pain pills. I knew he had a problem maybe overdoing it on his pain pills. I had no idea anything about hard drugs as far as heroin.
You didn't look up his record?
Well,
Knowing that he had been troubled in the past?
I did look up his record while we was here, because and I have.
You found what?
55 different incidences.
Let's see it, sir. You just told me one. See why I know you're still
Your
a
Honor,
dope fiend?
I said I have
you see
one
why I
conviction.
still know you're a dope fiend, sir? 55. See, I know a dope fiend when I see him. I know dope fiend stories, all of that. All of that, I'm clean. I know it when I see it. I'm not new to this. Aggravated assault, strong arm robbery, armed robbery, assault, vandalism, larceny from a building, stolen vehicle, arrest on a warrant, another stolen vehicle. You didn't look up his record?
I did look up his record while we was here, because I have.
You found what?
55 different incidences.
Let's see it, sir. You just told me one. See why I know you're still
Your
a dope
Honor, I
fiend?
said I
You
have
see
one
why I
conviction.
still know you're a dope fiend, sir? 55. See, I know a dope fiend when I see him. I know dope fiend stories, all of that. All of that, I'm clean. I know it when I see it.
Plaintiff Eric Logan is suing his former friend, who claims after a 2-week addiction to heroin, he's now been sober for 14 days.
Go ahead, sir. You got suckered by a dope fiend friend that you hadn't seen in years. Next time when they show up like that, find out a little bit about them. I got a lot of dope fiend friends who show up on me. I know a little bit about them first. First thing I do is have them volunteer in my community center. Volunteer. However you've been living, keep living like that. So you can come here though, and I'll see how you do volunteering, serving the community instead of stealing from the community to support your high. And if they look like they're really off dope or really trying to do the right thing, then I say try to find them a little part-time job. Sure. Or try to find them a full-time, or place them in a training program. But until we really see where they're at, we know the game is con. Go ahead, sir. So what happened with your stolen and damaged property?
He was working for me, had the van. I actually traded some work for a gentleman for a 2003 Chevy Impala. I had Mike, I called the gentleman up and said, hey, I'm gonna send Mike out to pick up the vehicle for me. I sent Mike out to pick up the vehicle. When he on the way back, he said, hey, Eric, this vehicle's running like crap. I can't make it out to the house. I called the gentleman that I got the vehicle from, expressed what Mike had told me. He said, Eric, I don't want to do you wrong on this trade. He said, I'll send a wrecker to come get it and find out what's wrong with it before I give it to you. He said it'd be 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days went by. He calls me up and says, hey, I'm at this place where Mike said the car was, and the car's nowhere to be found. I'm trying to get a hold of Mike. He refuses to answer, refuses to respond. The guy tells me the hotels that he said that these vehicles were at. I said, hotels? I thought he was living with his aunt. I talked to his aunt, and that's when I really found out about the heroin. She had texted my wife and said that I found needles, pop cans, belts, bloody rags, and I kicked him out of the house. I got the addresses of the hotels that the gentleman with the car said that the car was at. I drove around to the hotels. I finally found the company van that I let him use. When I finally found that there was a window busted out of it. Everything in it was gone, tools, ladders, everything. I got the van back and continued to try to get a hold of him and find out about the car. I talked to him. Finally, it came out that he had taken the car and traded the car to the dope man. All the tools, everything, so basically everything I have, the vehicle and all that, was in the hands of the dope man.
Must have been part of that 2-week period that he was addicted. What do you say, sir?
As far as the van being vandalized, someone did break into the van. when I was staying in the hotel. As far as the car goes, I did have the car and I did have the title, and the car did get sold.
So you don't have a defense?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
You know I know the game, so you just say, yeah, I better not keep going with this. Sir, I applaud you for giving your buddy a chance. And I give second chances, I believe in that, but there's a couple of things you look for. If they're drug addicted, make sure they're coming out of a rehab place. Not, I lock myself in a room for 3 days. That's not happening. That's not how you recover from heroin and crack. That's a temporary recovery. And they go to NA meetings on a regular basis. So that's what I tell you to look for if you're going to take a chance, and which you should. Sure. On people who need a second chance, all right? Look for true rehabilitation through going into treatment. If they can't go for treatment because they don't have the money or insurance, then look for them going to NA meetings. That's what you have to look for. So good luck to you.
Thank you.
Judgment for the plaintiff. If you need help or you want help, my staff is ready to have you placed somewhere where you need to be. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Sorry that this happened.
Man, it's...
I'm glad that we got this taken care of.
Me too, brother. I pray that you are clean and sober.
Thank you.
And I love you.
I love you too.
I wish things would have worked out different, and I pray for you every day, and hopefully everything works out.
Thank you.
Thanks.
After the case, Judge Mathis sent Michael to rehab, and he completed a 45-day program. Here he is now with an update.
It's been 8 years since I've been on the show. Since the show, my life has changed in so many ways. I've learned a lot about myself, about addiction, and about recovery. In 2015, my business partner and I opened a recovery residence program, working with recovering drug addicts and alcoholics. It's been a great honor to be of service to other people and to tell them about my path and help them with theirs. Today we have 6 locations. I'm very grateful for the Judge Mathis show and the opportunities that they gave me. Thank you, Judge Mathis.